Hi, I'm Karen Finch, and I'm the CEO of Legally Yours. To celebrate the 5 year anniversary of the Melbourne Women's Fund, I'm incredibly honoured to be filming a series of 5 videos interviewing the absolutely amazing women involved with the Melbourne Women's Fund. So, in today's interview, I'm really excited because I'm here with Pat Burke, who is the co founder of MWF. And Pat's going to join me to discuss why the MWF is so passionate about collective giving and how her and her co-founder established the leading best practice in this area. Pat, welcome, and thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Karen. It's wonderful to be here.
I'm incredibly honoured and excited about this conversation. So let's get into it. So MWF has a strategic objective to lead best practice in collective giving. So what does collective giving mean?
Think of a group of donors who come together and combine their individual donations into a larger amount. And they decide as a collective, as a donor-initiated group, how and where the funds will be dispersed. And the international term is collective giving, but here in Australia, we tend to call them giving circles or giving groups. And these groups share a common approach in that it's donor-initiated, and it typically provides an educational or community component so that their donors can learn about the issues and the areas of need in their communities. And another really key element is that these people are typically glued together around a shared sense of purpose to do public good, whether it's in their local communities or around a particular cause, such as conservation in the environment, for example, or in our case, supporting disadvantaged women and families. So of these collectives, some of these collectives, are membership-based to encourage long-term support and involvement like ours. And others can be shorter term, sort of once-off, but the key defining aspect is that individuals come together to pool their resources and donate as a group.
I absolutely love it. And why was collective giving so important to the Melbourne Women's Fund in particular? Why did you think that method was going to work when founding Melbourne Women's Fund?
Well, I'll come at it a bit from the academic standpoint and weave it into MWF. And there are a number of reasons. Historically, when you think about the word philanthropist, it's understood to only be those, as we were talking about earlier, who give major gifts, and often, in the millions of dollars. And I often say squillions because the mega gifts are so eye-wateringly amazing these days. But everyone can be a giver and therefore be philanthropic. And I think the word philanthropy can be polarizing at times. So with whatever amount of giving that an individual can afford, so it's not about the size of the gift, it's about the gift itself and what it enables our for-purpose organizations and our charities to achieve through their good work. So the impact and the power, if you will, of my individual donation is amplified by combining it in a pool. So my individual annual donation to MWF, when it's pooled with, say, 150 other donors, becomes so much more to the charity that receives the gift. So that's the sort of academic description of it. And also importantly, the givers feel that their donations of money and time and expertise are meaningful and impactful. So for those who are new to giving, this form of collective giving can be a pathway to a lifetime of giving. So it's a lot of our members say it's a buzz, and it's been proven, actually, some researchers have done work on it, and it's proven to give you joy. So donors connect and engage with the charities they fund. And so the kind of checkbook philanthropy that they may have known in the past, or many of us talk about, becomes more hands-on, and as they build relationships with the causes and the beneficiaries that they're supporting. So my work, my day job, is with the peak body for philanthropy in Australia. And a key aim of ours is to grow giving. So that's to inspire and lead Australia to be a more giving nation. So my involvement with Melbourne Women's Fund and collective giving is it fits beautifully with my day job. And Aussies, a couple more tiny points. Aussies are recognized internationally as incredibly generous as volunteers and for digging deep to help our communities suffering disasters from bushfires and now with COVID-19. So we're particularly good at that as a nation. And our citizens come out and give their support in great force. So as a nation, we I believe we have a good foundation now to build greater financial giving across the board. So because collective giving is more accessible and more possible for each individual, I think that people get hooked on the concept of giving in a group once they find out how marvelous it is.
Absolutely agree. And I think I really love and wanted to emphasize that point of those small little actions creating great big impacts, which is something that Melbourne Women's Fund talk a lot about. And I think you're right. I think that as a nation, Australia is a very generous and giving, but I think what we've traditionally associated with philanthropy is those sort of traditional, it's a bit elite, it has to be big wealth, and it has to be, that kind of, sort of subset, whereas Melbourne Women's Fund has just completely blown all that out of the water, and I think it's just a wonderful thing. And we did have a quick chat before this, we pressed record about the next gen, which I'm so incredibly excited about, because that is just going to open up, the whole, as I mentioned, the intergenerational giving of women within families, and introducing it to younger and younger girls to let them know that they can make a difference too. It doesn't, it can be accessible to everyone. So it's so
the
wonderful.
timing was really right to introduce it over the past couple of years. And, with the year that we've had, it's been quite challenging to go out and build that membership. And yet we've still been able to, and, I'm grateful to our leader, Sarah Priestley, who's gotten behind leading that. So the timing is perfect for it. And you can just see that, I can imagine where we'll be in 10 or 20 years with this group of inspired young donors.
There'll be no stopping. We'll change the world. I love it.
Yeah.
So it is the 5-year anniversary of the Melbourne Women's Fund. And so when reflecting back upon the last 5 years, are you most proud of?
There's, that's a hard thing to summarize. And it's funny, I really reflected on it. And, you look at the numbers and say, we've given over $700,000 to 36 fantastic organizations since 2014. It hasn't been, sometimes it feels that long, sorry, but 2014, yes. And women and families. But so the impact of what must be thousands of hours by now from our volunteer leaders. And I'd love to try to capture that, but again, we're volunteers, so we probably don't have time to do that. So their brilliant commitment and compassion that has made us work so well as a team, and building our group of donor members who share a common interest and care about improving the lives of vulnerable women and families, and who enjoy coming together as a group to enable our charities to do more in their important work. It's all woven together in a really marvelous collective. So it's hard to pick one thing, but I think I've tried. And so I'm proud too that we've been recognized along the way as a successful model of collective giving in Australia, a giving circle that works well. And many of us along the way who were part of it have helped others start their own giving circles. I helped a couple of groups last year get started, and that was very gratifying to see them catch the spark and form their own. So I have to say, I'm most proud of our volunteer leaders, their dedication and their brilliance and their love of Melbourne Women's Fund and what makes our impact in the community greater. So I'm grateful to every one of them and our really wonderful members who support us so generously and have stayed with us.
Amazing. And Pat, I'm on behalf of all of women in Melbourne, thank you for co-founding this amazing initiative and making collective giving and giving circles a part of what we can all be a part of. So thank you. So if you would like to find out more about how you can also become a supporter or partner of the Melbourne Women's Fund, or if you're a not-for-profit who would like to find out about the grants they have on offer, head to melbournewomensfund.org. So I'm Karen Finch from Legally Yours. Thank you so much, Pat, for joining me, and thank you, Burke, for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you. You too.